Hey friends, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. Happy Monday. At least that's the day I'm recording this call with a YouTuber who I really respect a lot. She's the Honeybee. She has 8,582 subscribers as of the recording of this call, and it's my hope that after this interview she'll have double that. Honeybee, how are you?
I'm doing great, Sean. Thanks for having me on today.
Well, thanks for coming on, and I think we're kindred spirits, as so many of us are in the space. And as I said to you before we began the call officially here, we're stronger when we stick together, because the winds of tyranny, the winds of fascism coming at us from Google and YouTube, changing the rules in the middle of the game, are very unsettling, especially for those of us who have been on YouTube as long as I've been on YouTube for 6 years. And believe me, I've endured plenty of attacks in the past. Anybody who might think I'm not for real, just check out the video I made, Which Criminal Bank Hates SGT Report. Find out now. And watch which bank was using trolls to try to bring me down. But we vetted them out and we proved that they were nothing more than highly paid corporate trolls. Honeybee, it is really the winds of fascism we face right now, isn't it?
It absolutely is, and we're all feeling it. Big channels, small channels. Even if you're just sharing people's videos, everyone's being affected by it on a very large scale. And I think there needs to start being some action. So these interviews where you and I can talk, and other researchers that are starting to get together and discuss and start putting together a plan of how, as a community, we can start resisting this corruption against us.
Yeah, well, it's tricky too, because when they change the rules in the middle of the game, it's like, well, how do you resist? I mean, what do you do? It's like, there was one set of rules that were in place for years and years and years, and now those rules have changed under this guise, this meme, this incredibly dopey thing called fake news. The question at the end of the day is, well, who's the arbiter of fake news? Who decides what news is real and what news is fake?
Just in the last 2 days, we announced that we will remove advertising from anything we identify as fake news.
Is only the news, quote unquote news, coming from the State Department and those talking points coming from CNN, that's the only news that's real? But the point is that those of us on YouTube, those of us trying to share real news, are actually trying to combat the corporate oligarchy. And it's the corporate oligarchy that has changed these rules in the middle of the game. That's what's so unjust about it.
Absolutely. And these rule changes happen because of fear, and they're always trying to instill fear in us. That is one of their control tactics. But when they start, haphazardly having these crazy fake news, actual fake news murders on television, these IMDb style shootings and whatnot, when they're so fake and they're so obvious to us at least, a tool, because as we can see from the other day, we saw the Easter massacre, and they took my video right off about an hour in, and then an hour after that, we have the fated suicide of this man, Steve Stevens. And during that newscast, Mark Zuckerberg comes right on the news station and says, "Oh, this is a catalyst for change. We have to be careful about what's going online, and we have to be more diligent in, sifting through not just fake news now, it's actual independent content that people, their freedoms are, they're actually causing more problems. We can't let people be free on the internet. Like, we have to do something about this." So that kind of programming now for the people that are asleep, it doesn't really bother them. You know what I mean? As far as they're concerned, we're all fake news, providers, and we're tainting everything. But as for us, that's very dangerous, because now our videos, our commentary, there will be legislation put forth to censor us even further.
Well, that's the fear. The fear is that they will take this straw man and then they will try to legislate it. And really, it'll be Big Brother on steroids as they try to provide some sort of legal backing for this censorship. And, I have a contact at YouTube now in the name of a real person, and she and I are able to speak, once a week, once every 2 weeks. She's very, very kind and helpful. I think you get that little special attention when you hit 100,000 subscribers. And so it's great to have somebody there who is sort of in my camp to the degree that she's empathetic to what's going on, and she does say that the news channels, her news channels, have been hit harder than the other channels. And I
Mhm.
was talking to her about this, and I said, yeah, but you know what is really, really troubling is that it feels even worse now than censorship. It feels like blatant discrimination because the
Yeah.
political speech is what's being discriminated against. And if we value the Bill of Rights, then that ability to speak should be cherished. And then they might say, oh, yes, but it's our advertisers. They don't want to be associated with objectionable content. And then my response to that is, okay, well, how come the Young Turks right now, which is a lefty news outlet, has been remonetized and there's ads all over their stuff? And then if you look at some of us that might be more identified as being on the right, which I don't think is actually fair either because I'm more libertarian and I've tried to break my right-left paradigm. But the point is that some of these lefty channels are being remonetized, and the bottom line is they've set up this straw man that advertisers don't want to be associated with objectionable content. And yet, honeybee, if you look at regular television, if you look at cable television, advertisers have no problem advertising on that Fox TV show called Lucifer, right?
Oh, not at all.
And there's a million other examples of objectionable content on cable TV. So I think this whole thing's a straw man.
Oh, it absolutely is. I mean, let's take, for example, some of the videos that had taken down. I look at the news and they're showing dead children on the ground, people blown up into bits all over the street. And then there's a commercial about, the newest medication to work for your, sexual problems or whatever they want to put on there. Um, Television has its own set of rules, apparently. We as people, we're not allowed to have a voice, and that's how they're going to do it. They're going to throw their money around, and they're going to punish us, and they're going to do it in the wallet. And that's the first line of attack is always money. Money is always going to be their most powerful asset. And of course, for me, when I first got monetized, I was kind of excited. I was like, wow, I can actually, make like $5 a month doing this. This is great because I don't make a lot of money on YouTube. I hope people don't think that's why I do this because there's not a lot of money in it. It's the point. It hurts my heart that the truth is being squashed. It hurts my subscribers to see me have to suffer being discriminated against. Not that I'm losing money. It's like, okay, guys, this is obvious censorship. This is obvious discrimination. And it should bother people, you know? Um, Even for instance, I don't really watch David Seaman, but he got hit in the wallet with the Patreon stuff. Greg Sawyer, they took his FundMe page down. Like I said, this is how they do it. They try to hit you in the wallet. And I mean, it's just going to get worse from here, I think.
Well, I agree. And, I made that point when Google took down Mike Adams and Natural News. They took down Natural News for 6 or 7 days, and only because of the outcry from the public did I think they reinstate it. But I think, again, that was a test case, a litmus test. What can they get away with? How far can they push this? Can they absolutely just take a very popular, very effective, very truth-based website offline by calling it fake news? That's what they tried to do with Mike Adams. And it's just really, really outrageous because at the end of the day, all we want as Americans, all we want as human beings, is a just world in which to live. And that seems to be just less and less available to us. It seems like the power, and you're right about they're going to hit us in the pocketbook because that's ultimately the bankers. The Illuminati New World Order banking plan is to chip everybody. And then, if they have a problem with your politics, they'll just turn off your chip. And imagine living in Venezuela right now. Imagine having no access to food, having no access to actual money with purchasing power. That's where you're going to be when they turn off your chip. And it's all part of this insidious satanic plan.
It absolutely is, and it is going in that direction. These people are Satanists that pull the strings in our society, in our world. And we were just talking a little earlier about Ronald Bernard and his video. A lot of what he's saying is absolutely the reality that we live in. How could the world be the way it is if people weren't, looking up to Satan for their information and their next cue? The world would not be as horrible as it is right now, where we stand in these end times. And I truly believe we're in the end times. For children to be tortured and trafficked, for people to be mutilated and mass genocide, people being tested, with the United States testing, these third world countries with different drugs and wiping out communities. It's hell. It's hell on earth. How can't these people not be evil by just looking at the world that we live in?
Yeah. Well, and I think that your work and the work that Tracy Beans is doing and Titus Frost and all of the people out there, you please add on to the list. There's so many great people doing research out there and trying to spread truth about exactly what you've spoken about. You just mentioned Ronald Bernard. He's the Dutch banker who was working at an extremely, extremely high level. And according to him, and we've heard this from so many other people, including Aaron Russo and so many people, that the plan of these bankers is a satanic plan. And at the very top of the pyramid, the most powerful people on the planet are Luciferians, and they adhere to a Luciferian ideology. And in fact, according to Ronald, they worship Lucifer. And I'm going to play here a clip in a second. It'll be in Dutch, but I'll provide the narration, the translation. But the bottom line here is that what we're doing is we're shining light on these Luciferian cockroaches, and they don't like it one bit, because when they can operate in the dark, they can get away literally with murder.
Maar er kwam een moment, toen werd ik dus uitgenodigd, daarom vertel ik dit ook, om mee te gaan doen aan offers in het buitenland. Dat was het breekpunt. Kinderen.
Okay.
But as soon as we shine the light of truth on these people, they scurry like the cockroaches they are. They are running in fear for being identified, for who and what they truly are. It's as sick as anything I can imagine, but we're going to play that clip from Ronald in a second. Your thoughts on that before I do?
I was completely blown out of the water when I watched it. So many of my subscribers had sent me the video. Please watch this. This is so important. And I watched it. You have to watch the video from the beginning to the end. So if you're just going to show a clip, I please urge your subscribers, watch from the beginning to the end, and there's supposed to be another portion of that as well. Every word that he speaks is very important. It's a very important story, the kind of climaxes. Everything that he says isn't news to me. It just kind of confirmed everything that I already believed. And it was very powerful, especially because he's from, the Netherlands, and it's a different language. And he had a lot of information about the financial system that I wasn't aware of. It was just very compelling.
Yeah.
So I urge everybody to watch it from start to finish.
Yeah, he says roughly 8,500 people basically run the world, and most of these people are Luciferians. This interview was conducted by a woman named Irma Schiffers, and his name is Ronald Bernard. I featured the Outer Dark version of this at SGT Report. It's still posted at the top as we're recording this interview, and I provide a link to the actual full interview as well. Let me make this big here on my screen so I can read this. I'm going to play this, folks, and just a piece of this. I'll play it in parts, and then I'll provide the narration if I can. Oh, maybe I'll start with the narration. That may be the best way to do it. He says, the negative, you can say evil, the Luciferians, the Satanists, whatever you wish to call it, it is a real entity. I found what is written in the Bible, and not just the Bible. You can find it in so many books. There has really been a moment of separation from the manifestation of light, in which a group went their own way and are carrying an intense hatred, anger.
En een haat, een intense haat heeft, een kwaadheid heeft.
The people who do not underestimate the severity of this are but few, because this is an all-annihilating force that hates our guts. It hates creation, it hates life, and it will do anything to destroy us completely. And the way to do that is to divide humanity.
En hoe doe je dat? Door ze uit elkaar te houden. Verdeel en heers, dat klopt. De mensheid is namelijk de manifestatie.
Folks, you absolutely have to watch this. It is one of the most powerful testimonies I've ever seen, and I know that Honeybee has been doing some research on exactly who Ronald Bernard is, but not knowing him from Adam at this point, I would have to say that this is the most authentic testimony probably that I've seen since the Hampstead children, Ella Draper's children, spoke about the Christchurch elementary atrocities, which of course were covered up by the UK, and Ella Draper was drummed out of the country and her kids taken from her. Honeybee, what have you found out about Ronald Bernard to this point?
Well, of course, I'm always digging to disprove things. I'm not always trying to keep that like, oh, I want to make sure that this is the cool thing right now. Let's make sure we can hype it up more. I'm always coming into my research with a very clear lens. Like, I don't want it to be putting out information that I can't actually prove exactly, what I'm talking about. So I went into this to find out information about his personal life. And what I was expecting to find was, this guy's been a businessman for a long time. He owned this company. Before 2010, there is absolutely nothing about this guy. And I've been looking at foreign texts. I've been using translation systems to read things, and it actually is more believable that he was doing what he was doing because I can't find one thing about him prior to 2009, 2010. What I have found is he has started his own currency and banking system, which is free from the large banks. It is a trust sort of thing where it's supported by the people and for the people. And this is outside of the Netherlands. It's called Be of Joy. It's a bank transfer sort of setup here. I'm looking at their website right now. I do implore you to go look at it. It's the letter B of joy.net. And they get into, their reasoning for doing this, and a lot of it is because of the corruptions of the banks, and this man has an inside knowledge of how it works. I mean, he was talking about, in the video, it made me laugh, McScrooge, with his shovel, shoveling loads of money into the back of, a truck. And like, that's what they were doing literally through the money exchange through different countries, just taking money from one country and transferring it into other monies and then bringing it back into the country to create, either inflation or deflation to destroy companies within that country. It's a game to them, So for him to be actually coming out and doing this for the people, I think it lends him credibility, trying to make a difference and make changes. I'd like to look a little deeper into what he's all about. It did kind of disturb me on the level that they're letting this guy go out there and say this stuff. Usually when you have someone that's a whistleblower, they're not really allowed to say much. We look at Trian Hunyu, Seth Rich, Mike Hastings. They don't last very long. They're not allowed to have a voice. They're not allowed to speak to the people. So I want to keep my eye on this person. I do pray for him to be safe. But there's a little part of my brain, my skeptical brain, that's like, okay, why are they letting him come out and speak about this stuff?
Yeah, well, you know what? I want to just say a couple things about that. He does say in this piece that he believes the reason he is alive is because he essentially has honored the oath not to name any names.
True.
And talk about specific places or businesses or, name the names. So there is that. The other part of it is that I find very interesting is that he describes in this thing his freezer-like soul having been awoken at the moment that he realized he was in a satanic church and he was invited to sacrifice a child. That's what woke him up, and that's what shook him to his core. He talks about in this video that he went through a lot of trouble himself as a child, and that really shocked him to his core, and it unfroze his conscience.
Maar er kwam een moment, toen werd ik dus uitgenodigd, daarom vertel ik dit ook, om mee te gaan doen aan offers in het buitenland. Dat was het breekpunt. Kinderen.
Oké. Dat werd je gevraagd.
Ja, ik kon het niet.
Wil je even
En
stoppen?
toen...
Wil je even stoppen trouwens? Of niet?
Nee.
Oké.
En toen begon ik langzaamaan eigenlijk in te storten. Ik had zelf als kind nogal wat meegemaakt.
Ja.
En dat raakte mij zo. Alles ging om. Maar dat is de wereld waar ik uitkom. En toen begon ik dus dingen te weigeren binnen mijn werk. Ik kon het niet meer. En toen werd ik een gevaar.
And he felt again, and he's tears up. He actually has tears streaming down his cheeks in this interview, and it just makes me realize that there are probably hundreds, if not thousands or tens of thousands, of people, upper management type people that aren't necessarily the elite of the elite, but do the bidding of the elite, that could tell similar stories, and just most choose not to. In his case, if he was able to get this interview done and out quickly, he may not live his full natural life. But let's just hope that I guess we should say, let's just be thankful that he was able to get this information out and tell this story, because it backs up everything we've been talking about. Jimmy Savile trafficking children to the elite in London for decades. Friends with Prince Charles, knighted by the Queen. And now Sir Edward Heath, who died in 2006, stories being told about him and the sacrifice of 16 children or babies, and the survivors telling those stories. And of course the mainstream media wants everybody to believe that evil stopped with the death of those men, when clearly the evil is systemic. And the other thing that Ronald says in this video is he says the intelligence agencies are involved in all of this, and the intelligence agencies will stop at absolutely nothing to prop up this system. They are the impetus and the mechanics for implementing fear and terror and keeping humanity in this perpetual state of fear. And if everybody could just shake off their fear and understand the truth of what's going on here, and he says this in the video, it would be like a candle in a dark room. We could take this thing back and their games would stop instantly, Honeybee.
It's true. And, he said a lot of very wonderful things in his video. He was also talking about how the CIA is just having coffee at the end of the day with these terrorist organizations, laughing at everybody, laughing at us because we have the power to see. But a lot of us choose not to because it is scary. And that's why they succeed, is because there is this layer of fear. When you can, like you said, shake off the fear, you start to see the bigger picture. That's when things will start to move. I feel that's when people start to get together and start planning, okay, what's the next step as humans? What's the next step that we need to take to fight these guys? Because, you're still going to the store and you're still buying all their crap. You're still paying your cable. You're still paying your taxes. I mean, we are still helping the system perpetuate itself. Even though I'm making these videos and I'm very much against the system, I still have power. I have a computer. I still have to watch the ads on these videos when I do my own research. I'm still in the system. So to break free from that system and to fight back, that's going to take a lot of brain power and creative thinking, I think.
Right. Well, I think one of the things, and the reason I wanted to start with that particular soundbite from him is because the system that has been set up is evil, and the people at the top of the power structure are inherently, or by choice, evil, and they worship a dark power, and that helps us understand why this world is such a mess. I mean, he says it right there. They hate humanity. They hate creation, as only Lucifer could. As only Luciferians could. Because I think what's so puzzling and troubling for so many of us that have gone through this long wake-up process, for me it's been since 2001, 9/11, is that how could anybody be so evil to be willing to perpetrate such atrocities against their fellow man? I mean, it's just puzzling, and it reminds me of Hillary Clinton laughing about, we came, we saw, he's dead, about Gaddafi.
We came, we saw, he died. Did it have anything to do with your visit? No. Oh, I'm sure it did.
And it's just, at the end of the day, it's this type of testimony from somebody who has rubbed elbows with these Luciferians that just drives the point home that everything we've been saying is spot on. We're over the target, and that's why we're taking so much heat. That's why Google and YouTube want to shut us down. And you can comment on that, but I want to bridge over to Gotham Shield, too, because I think the Gotham Shield nuclear bomb drill that is said to be happening here as we speak, I believe today, the 24th through the 26th, is in itself fear-mongering by our own government. You know, and it makes me so angry that so many of us that cover these very, very important issues, be it satanic ritual abuse or the economic collapse that may be coming as the dollar loses its value as world's reserve currency, are called fear-mongers. When it's our own government that fear-mongers and the mainstream media that does nothing but fear-mongers all day long because they want to keep Americans in this perpetual state of fear. And Gotham Shield, to me, a nuke drill over New Jersey, is absolute fear-mongering by the government.
Yeah, I was watching Tracy Bean's video about that, and you can hear in her voice, it makes her nervous. I've been waiting for the nuke, fear-mongering campaign to happen. Me and my boyfriend, we're like prepared. Like if we hear a bomb go off and see a flash, like we know how many seconds to count to, make sure we can either go in the car and drive and beat it, or if we have to shelter in place, you know what I mean? Like we've been prepared for a long time. We know that these things may happen. Do I spend all day worrying about it happening? No, you shouldn't. A plane could fall out of the sky and fall on top of you while you're walking to work. Do you know what I mean? You can't spend your life worrying about these crazy, crazy things that they're pumping out to create fear. As for Gotham Shield, I did find it quite interesting, and I don't remember who I was watching, but they were talking about it possibly being a cover for some either EMP activity or solar flare storms that are actually causing power outages and causing issues.
Yeah, I think that was BP Earthwatch that maybe tied that together.
Love that guy. Yes, I don't think it was him, but I do love BP Earth.
Yeah. Well, Tracy then made a video too talking about the fact that maybe this is cover for solar activity. That may be the case. I think just like 9/11, it's the perfect cover to make a drill go live should they choose to, which I don't think they will, by the way. But these types of drills, once they do one and the public is apparently not troubled by it, and there's no outrage in New Jersey, they can do it, every year if they want. And that's the scary part, because at the end of the day, again, it's fear-mongering. If a nuclear weapon goes off in this country, I can tell everybody listening, 99% it was the deep state that made it happen. They'll pin it on the Russians, or they'll pin it on Iran, or they'll pin it on Syria, or they'll pin it on North Korea, but it will be an operation carried out by the deep state.
Of course. And like I want to remind everybody, just because we might not be friendly with a country on the outside, what the news is reporting and what all of our opinions are, the agenda that has been laid out for us to be spoon-fed, they're all friends. This is a giant chess game for the people that are in power. There is no good guy, bad guy at the top. It is all very planned and all very known what is happening. There's no, even like the Bible says, there's nothing new under the sun. This has all been done before. This has all been seen before. That's the top of the pyramid. They look down and they plan all of these things. So when you see a war breaking out in Syria, perpetuated by maybe Russia, maybe United States, maybe, who knows, it was actually started by the top of the pyramid. And they're sitting back, drinking their champagne and kind of watching the cards fall. And they already know the outcome. It's an agenda, that they have. And they've worked very hard to get where they are to make these kinds of things happen, to keep us in control.
Yeah, that's right. And I mentioned Aaron Russo, I think, earlier in this conversation. I'll mention him again because he said that. He claimed to be friends with a guy named Nick Rockefeller, who told him, when they were friends, that what you're going to see happen, and this was before 9/11, but soon you're going to see an event happen in New York City. And after that event, you're going to see us go into Afghanistan and other places in the Middle East looking for a boogeyman, going into caves, looking for somebody who's not there. And the ultimate plan, he said, is to get everybody chipped. If you haven't seen that interview, guys, just Google it. I believe it was Alex Jones that carried out that interview with Aaron Russo. And I know Alex Jones is being much maligned at this point, but Aaron Russo, God rest his soul, was clearly a truth teller and a good man. And shortly after that interview, he died of cancer. But Honeybee, there are many truth tellers. Don't you find it funny? It's like Bill Hicks said, how come the demons run amok and the truth tellers die young?
Yep, that's right. And I don't think it should make truth tellers go out of style, though. They're always trying to squash the ones that are in style. I urge everyone, though, to do their own little part. Not everyone's going to be like SGT, report or Honeybee or any big YouTube channels. You share a video, you talk to your friends, you talk to your buddies at the bar. Maybe they look at you sideways when you mention it, but if you're passionate about it, you don't have to be creating content every day or writing huge articles and trying to get published. I mean, it's just spreading the word. And I told one of my subscribers the other day, she kept thanking me profusely, like, thank you for what you do and trying to look out for these children, exposing these demons. It really isn't me. It's my subscribers and people that share my videos and people that comment with me and talk with me and have emails with me. It's the shouter outers, it's the rally creators, the people that are out there or in their house behind their computer. It's everybody together. It's definitely only a buzz because we're all talking about it together as a team and we're trying to figure it out as a team. That's the important part. So my very first YouTube video ever was saying, don't listen to one person on YouTube and listen to every single one of their videos every single day, pumping out all these things to make you feel filled with fear. You have to take everything with a grain of salt and open up your mind to every shade of gray of news that's out there to protect yourself. Watch the crap news on TV, but don't be fooled by it. Just inform yourself. You have to be open-minded to all that's out there and share. Share what you know.
And, go to the trees that bear fruit. So I'd really recommend globalresearch.ca. Michel Chossudevsky, the professor there who founded that site, really woke me up with his book called America's War on Terrorism. And I tell you what, there are trees that bear fruit consistently, and those are the trees that you need to go to. And once you understand the language that we all speak here in this community, and that Honeybee and I have been speaking here in this interview, once you understand the language, once you're equipped to have the conversation, then you can watch CNN and you will see their blatant propaganda. It will come through to you as clearly as the sun rising, and you will be able to counter that in conversations with others. But I think Honeybee's right. You have to be careful, and you also have to compartmentalize your life a little bit, because when you live in a neighborhood like I do, most of those people are not awake and are not equipped to have this conversation. And so if you want to stand out on your front porch screaming about 9/11 being a false flag all day, they'll probably call the cops on you. So the trick is to infuse these conversations in intelligent ways at the right time. You don't have to dominate a whole dinner party with this conversation, because then you're going to find yourself not invited to any more dinner parties. Believe me, I've been there. And so I think at the end of the day, go to the trees that bear fruit, and there are many, many of them out there on YouTube. Honeybee is certainly one of them. Honeybee, before I let you go, I'd be remiss not to mention what's going on, and we don't have to get into this far. I don't even want to mention these men's names because they're beneath contempt, in my opinion. But Podesta recently got a job at the Washington Post, thanks to his billionaire buddy Jeff Bezos, who is enjoying a multi-$100 million contract for the CIA to provide a cloud for CIA data. And now Podesta's buddy, Alefantis, just wrote an article which appeared at the Washington Post. And I just find it all just slightly suspicious that in this world of fake news, two such men have been given such a powerful mainstream platform.
Yeah, they're kind of just getting the keys to the castle on the regular at this point. It makes me laugh.
It's so sick.
It is really sick, and it's funny. I won't say the names, the name that should not be named, of course, or your video will probably get taken down. But you guys know who BP is, the person that I discovered with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Do you read Salon? Do you know the Salon?
Oh, I don't. I can't stand it. No, I don't. I never go to Salon.
Well, you know what it is. Well, that's all I need to know. Yeah. Salon is very pro-pedophile. They are always dancing the razor's edge there with advocating for pedophilia to be accepted, for them to have rights. that we need to look at them as good people that are, falling victim to this life or whatever. It's a bunch of bull crap. Personally, I found out that BP's brother, PJ, is a writer for Salon as well.
But
So
of course.
not only his parents are at WAPO with their somehow related John Podesta, but now we find the brother is also publishing works for Salon. So it's just an endless web of corruption with the Podesta family. Please, everyone, watch the video that they took down. You can go on Twitter. You can see people got banned for mentioning this guy's name. Like I said, I can't say his name because I don't want this video to get taken down because they're that serious about covering up this relation with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, the Washington Post, the National the National Democracy for Endowment for Democracy, Salon Magazine. The list goes on about these connections with Lockheed Martin, and it's very, very deep, and it's very, very disturbing. And the fact that they still have a platform, even after Pizzagate, even after all of the controversy, it's just amazing. They just keep getting higher and higher and higher in this rung of media royalty. I can't believe that they let James Alefantis be published. I haven't read it. I'm not sure if I want to. What was your take on it?
To be flabbergasted. I mean, honestly. I mean, because it just absolutely proves, again, everything that we've been saying is 100% true. There was no investigation into what really is going on with what is called Pizzagate. There's no real investigation into what was going on at Alefantis' own establishment. And the fact that magic bullet fired by that lone assailant magically hit their computer hard drive and destroyed any evidence that might have been there is as anomalous as the JFK assassination and its own magic bullet, which you have to believe to buy the story that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone.
Alefantis says he wouldn't have found anything exciting. And here is our bags and coat closet. The bullet went into our computer system.
After police arrived, Welch surrendered peacefully, saying that he was trying to rescue the children.
So it's just more of the same, and I think to come full circle here and mention Ronald Bernard's testimony again, the people at the top of the pyramid are truly evil, and the fact that they worship an evil power that hates humanity helps us understand how they can be doing such nefarious things to destroy this planet and destroy humanity. And one final thing in regards to Salon and their pro-pedophile stance in so many cases, Tom DeLay warned us all just a year or two ago that an element of the Department of Justice is actively working on trying to legalize or normalize 12 perversions, including bestiality and sex with children.
That's right.
What kind of world do we live in which that can even be spoken about and people not be outraged?
It absolutely is an epidemic, and you can go Google yourself anytime, every week, military personnel, child rape. You'll get 5 articles. Police officer, child rape. You'll get 10 articles. Lobbyists, government official, child rape, child porn. It's every single day you will find an article pertaining to this. It doesn't get mainstream, but the local cities and towns, they report on what's going on in their city. You will find these articles, folks. It is ridiculously huge. This is a normal way of life for them. They are pedophiles. And like this Heart Progress that we found on Twitter, they're pedophile advocacy groups like NARSOL, like the Center for Sexual Justice, NAMBLA. These people are actively trying to change legislation to be able to decriminalize child abuse. We call it child rape. They call it consenting child sex. They're trying to get rid of the marriage laws where adults can marry 4-year-old kids, 5-year-old kids. It's actually legal to marry at 14 years old in New York City, if you didn't know that. This is the kind of stuff that's happening right now. They're trying to use the LGBT community and their platform, and they're inserting themselves into this movement to gain rights and acceptance within the society. So that is not going to happen as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to the Pride Parade in Boston on June 10th, and I'm marching against the pedophile advocacy groups, because if you're going to block them anywhere, it's LGBT, because that's where they're starting to pop up.
Yeah, and God bless you for it. I mean, everybody who's listening should be inspired by this conversation because, Honeybee, how long have you been on YouTube?
Not very long. I've had an account for a long time, but I've only been creating content for about maybe 3 or 4 months.
Oh, see, now that's amazing. So 8,500 subs in just a few months, and this is what I was praying for and hoping for all of these years that I've been on YouTube, trying to wake people up, trying to say, get involved, stand up. We need you. Together we are all stronger. And who do we have now? We have all of these new voices. Tracy Beans, the Honeybee, Titus Frost, people who did not exist when I started my channel 6 years ago. They existed in the world, but I don't think they were all on YouTube. And now there's so many wonderful people standing up and screaming truth from the rooftops. I want to leave folks with this, Matthew 26 through 28. So have no fear of them, for nothing is covered that will not be revealed, or hidden that will not be known. What I tell you in the dark, say in the light, and what you hear whispered, proclaim on the housetops. Honeybee, I want to thank you so much for having the courage to do just that.
Thank you. Amen, Sean. It's been a pleasure being here today. And, we, all of us new YouTubers, we're here because of you guys. And you guys are pioneers in spreading the truth. And we do thank you. And I thank you personally for that. So.
Oh, that's very kind. I'm too self-deprecating to even listen to that. But no, I really do appreciate that. And so many people have supported us in this tough time, with Google trying to take us down and YouTube trying to, make the playing field no longer level. So I want to thank the more than 800 now Patreons who have kindly stepped up to support me, and I want you guys specifically to know that I am trying to pay that forward now by supporting other channels with just a little bit every month, and really to showcase those channels then on my Patreon account. So people that come to my Patreon account will understand that these are some of the other channels, some of the smaller channels, some of the bigger channels than mine even, that I want to support because they're doing such great work. So you can see that list, I think, right over there on my Patreon account. And please do subscribe to the Honeybee. That is the name of the YouTube channel. She does great work. Honeybee, thanks so much for your time.
Likewise, my friend. We'll hopefully talk soon again.
All right. We're kindred spirits. And, at the end of the day, guys, shine the light of truth in a dark room and watch the cockroaches scurry. Thank you so much for listening. We very, very much appreciate your support. For real news, check us out at SGT Report 24/7, the antidote to corporate propaganda. Much love, guys. Have a great week.
So they just kind of give up and they just kind of accept what they're being told. And this problem is worse than ever. That's what school has produced. People just drift from, one authority to another.